Hi guys, welcome back to this YouTube channel. So, for today's video we are going to discuss about the homeroom guidance of Grade 12, Quarter 3, Module 6, entitled, I Am Safe. So, after going through this module, you are expected to 1. Discuss laws that protect the rights of self and others. 2. Express commitment in promoting rights of self and others, and 3. Promote specific laws protecting oneself and others through awareness campaigns. The new normal situation has brought many challenges. For many people, the situation has resulted to what may be termed as pandemic fatigue, additional worries, problems, and even anxiety. These can stem from your experiences with other people, including your family members and ourselves. With the enforcement of community quarantines, you spend more time locked up with family members and other people staying where you live. Hence, it is essential to be aware of human rights laws so you can safeguard yourselves and others from different forms of abuses and exploitations. In this module, you will be introduced to various laws that protect your human rights. You will also learn more about your duties and responsibilities in promoting the safety of other people. Before we start, let's try this first activity. So you have to list down at least one possible scenario wherein there is a violation of human rights, which may happen on the following places like in home, community, workplace, and school. For processing questions. 1. What did you realize while doing this activity? 2. As a senior high school learner, what can you do to prevent these human rights violations? Let's explore another activity, and so from the previous activity, fill out the table below. In the second column, rewrite the human rights violations in each of the scenario: home, school, community, and workplace. In the third column, describe the effects of these human rights violations to the victims and to the other members of each scenario. In the last column, identify government and non-government agencies that can help the victims and/or address the human rights violations. For processing questions. 1. What insights have you gained from the activity? 2. How do victims of human rights violations benefit from the actions of any of the agencies responsible to help them? Specific laws that protect human rights. Can you imagine a world without human rights? It will certainly expose you and others to dangerous situations, abuses, and exploitations. Fortunately, you are living now in a world that promotes and respects human rights, which are considered universal and fundamental to every human person in the world. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, which was a milestone document in the history of human rights, outlined the most basic human rights and freedoms that every human being is entitled to. This declaration, proclaimed by all the representatives coming from different regions of the world, laid out the foundation for human rights protection laws and policies all around the world. In our country, different laws have been enacted to protect the human rights of every Filipino. The following are some of these legislations. Republic Act No. 9262. This act is also known as the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. Violence against women and their children refers to any act or a series of acts committed by any person against a woman who is his wife, former wife, or against a woman with whom the person has or had a sexual or dating relationship, or with whom he has a common child, or against her child whether legitimate or illegitimate, within or without the family abode, which result in or is likely to result in physical, sexual, psychological harm or suffering, or economic abuse, including threats of such acts, battery, assault, coercion, harassment, or arbitrary deprivation of liberty. Republic Act No. 10175. This is also known as the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. The law outlined the punishable acts that are considered cybercrimes, like offenses against the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of computer data and systems, computer-related offenses, and content-related offenses. Republic Act No. 9710. This is also known as the Magna Carta of Women. This was approved on August 14, 2009. Which mandates non-discriminatory and pro-gender equality and equity measures to enable women's participation in the formulation, implementation, and evaluation of policies and plan for national, regional, and local development. Republic Act No. 9442. This is an act amending Republic Act No. 7277. Otherwise known as the Magna Carta for Disabled Persons, and for other purposes. The amendments include inclusion of new chapters and sections for other privileges and incentives, and prohibitions on verbal, nonverbal ridicule, and vilification against persons with disability. Republic Act No. 7-6-1-0. This act is known as the Special Protection of Children Against Abuse, Exploitation and Discrimination Act. This law provides special protection to children from all forms of abuse, neglect, cruelty, exploitation, and discrimination and other conditions prejudicial their development. Provide sanctions for their commission and carry out a program for prevention and deterrence of and crisis intervention in situations of child abuse, exploitation, and discrimination. Republic Act No. 8-3-5-3. This act is also known as the Anti-Rape Law of 1997. Rape is committed by a man who shall have carnal knowledge of a woman under any of the following circumstances: a. Through force, threat, or intimidation. b. When the offended party is deprived of reason or otherwise unconscious. c. By means of fraudulent machination or grave abuse of authority, and d. When the offended party is under 12 years of age or is demented. Even though none of the circumstances mentioned above be present, rape is also committed by any person who, under any of the circumstances mentioned hereof, shall commit an act of sexual assault by inserting his penis into another person's mouth or anal orifice, or any instrument or object, into the genital or anal orifice of another person. Republic Act No. 9-2-3-1. This is an act providing for the elimination of the worst forms of child labor and affording stronger protection for the working child, amending for this purpose Republic Act No. 7-6-1-0, as amended, otherwise known as the Special Protection of Children Against Child Abuse, Exploitation and Discrimination Act. Quote, Republic Act No. 1-0-6-2-7. This act is also known as the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013. All elementary and secondary schools are hereby directed to adopt policies to address the existence of bullying in their respective institutions. For the purpose of this act, bullying shall refer to any severe or repeated use by one or more students of a written, verbal, or electronic expression, or a physical act or gesture, or any combination thereof, directed at another student that has the effect of actually causing or placing the latter in reasonable fear of physical or emotional harm or damage to his property, creating a hostile environment at school for the other student, infringing on the rights of the other student at school, or materially and substantially disrupting the education process or the orderly operation of a school. Republic Act No. 9-7-7-5. This act is known as the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009. With the help of this law, the fundamental rights of every child from all forms of neglect, cruelty, and other conditions prejudicial to her development is guaranteed. Children are protected from all forms of exploitation and abuse including, but not limited to, 1. The use of a child in pornographic performances and materials, and 2. The inducement or coercion of a child to engage or be involved in pornography through whatever means. Republic Act No. 9-9-9-5. This act is also known as the Anti-Photo and Video Voyeurism Act of 2009. This act states that it is unlawful to take photo or video coverage of a person or group of persons performing sexual act or any similar activity, or to capture an image of the private area of a person, to copy or reproduce, to sell or distribute, to publish or broadcast internet, cellular phones, and other similar means. Republic Act No. 1-0-3-5-4. The Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012. This law recognizes and guarantees the human rights of all persons including their right to equality and non-discrimination of these rights. The right to sustainable human development, the right to health which includes reproductive health, the right to education and information, and the right to choose and make decisions for themselves in accordance with their religious convictions, ethics, cultural beliefs, and the demands of responsible parenthood. Republic Act No. 8-0-4-9. An act regulating hazing and other forms of initiation rights in fraternities, sororities, and other organizations and providing penalties therefor. No hazing or initiation rights in any form or manner by a fraternity, sorority or organization shall be allowed without prior written notice to the school authorities or head of organization 7 days before the conduct of initiation. The written notice shall indicate the period of the initiation activities, which shall not exceed 3 days, shall include the names of those to be subjected to such activities, and shall further contain an undertaking that no physical violence be employed by anybody during such initiation rites. On being safe in working environment. As a senior high school student, you will experience applying all the competencies you acquired through a work immersion program, business enterprise simulation, or actual research or capstone project. It is important that you are also aware about your rights in the work immersion venue. Prior to your immersion, an orientation will be held by your teachers to explain the scope of this program and your roles as a work immersion student. Department of Labor and Employment, DOL, Labor Advisory No. 9 Series of 2017 states a clear guidance to host establishment and ensuring safe workplaces for you under this work immersion program. Emphasis was given to the restriction for learners with age between 15 and 18 years old to report in their work immersion venue between 10 o'clock in the evening and 6 o'clock in the morning in the following day. Other provisions in these guidelines were reiterated as follows. Provision of personal protective equipment, Rule 1.0.8.0 of 1989 Occupational Safety and Health. Ensuring non-exposure of senior high school students to hazardous materials and work environments, Rule 1.0.1.3 of the 1989 OSH, Hazardous Workplaces, and DOL Memorandum Circular No. 02, Series of 1998, Technical Guidelines for Classifying Hazardous and Non-Hazardous Environments, Workplaces, and Work Processes. Keep in mind these different provisions about your safety and protection as a work immersion program. And do not hesitate to report to your work immersion teacher if you think some of your human rights are being violated. From the various laws that you learned from the lecturette, choose one that you would like to be advocated in your home, school, or community. Draw an advocacy poster, traditional drawing or digital format, promoting the implementation of this law in a 1/8 size of illustration board. It is recommended that you contextualize your poster design and elements to the current pandemic situation. You may post in the most conspicuous area in your place or virtually post in your chosen social media account to promote your advocacy. For processing questions. 1. What did you realize while doing this activity? 2. In your own way, what can you do to support the implementation of laws for the protection of human rights? Let's test what you have learned in our discussion. Now, show how much you have learned from this module by completing the following statements. In this module, I learned that blank. I appreciate the fact that blank. Because of what I have learned, I will surely blank. And now, it's time to share your thoughts and feelings. This activity entitled, Human Right Pledge of Commitment. You are going to write your personal pledge of commitment showing your support in promoting these human rights laws for a better and safer society. Copy the template on your answer sheet. Human Rights Pledge of Commitment. I do solemnly commit myself to, then put your answers on the blank.